Today was one of those days where we got a crazy Southwestern Ontario snowstorm. We're buried in well under a foot of snow, and that's caused some problems around the city, specifically at the warehouse. We're not really able to get the truck into the warehouse, and all of our tools and wood is at the warehouse. So that means we're not really gonna get much accomplished on the van build today. Now, what happens in this part of the world is called the lake effect. It happens a few times every winter where a patch of cold air is blown over the Great Lakes that are not frozen at this point. It sucks up a lot of moisture and then it dumps it on us in the form of snow. Now, I do know you didn't click on this video for a meteorology lesson, so with the power of cinema, let's jump into what has so far been the most requested part of this van build, the kitchen build.
Can we just take a minute to be in awe of how sunny it is today? I whipped out my sunglasses, which haven't seen the light of day in 6 months. The polar vortex has broken. It's still pretty freaking cold. Next week, it's supposed to be above 0, which is just cause for celebration. I am so excited today to be moving on to the kitchen. I think it'll be really rewarding when we have that space done, because that'll be the biggest difference between the minivan and our transit conversion. We've got 3/4 inch to build these cabinets. Where it's gonna get a little bit more complex is our sink cabinet, which is going by the door, but that's not for today.
We've cut the first couple pieces of 1/4 inch, of course, with a jigsaw, as we always do. Now I'm going ahead and cutting out a toe kick because Kirsten said so. And you know what they say, right? Maybe it'll be best if we just cut this stuff and then kind of show you once we start framing it inside of the van. But this is going to be the lower kitchen cabinets. This is where our fridge is gonna go. This is where our electrical cabinet is going to be. What else is going here? I think we're putting some sort of like pull-out spice rack or pull-out pantry of some sort, right?
Yeah, something like that. Step 1 was cutting these 3/4 inch pieces that are going to act as the dividers in between all of our cabinets. They're pretty heavy, I would say, but I think it'll all be worth it for the sake of integrity. Then the second part was cutting the holes to vent the fridge all the way through to the front of the vehicle, just because it does need proper airflow, and because it's compressor based, we don't want it to get overheated. Now that we've done this, we now need to join them all together, so we're gonna be using 1x3s. Luckily, we have studs to mount these directly into, but that 1x3 that we're gonna run along the back is really gonna help to make sure it stays sturdy in the wall.
So what we've built here is actually a box that's essentially going to join the two cabinets together, and it's also going to help us raise the fridge off the ground and give it the ability to vent both underneath the fridge and behind the fridge as per the instruction manual. It's pretty sturdy. We use the trusty pocket hole jig, and we've also put some pocket holes in the side so that we can mount it. I don't have a demonstration piece, but imagine this is a piece of 3/4 inch plywood. We can mount it like that to the cabinet frame, and then we will have a nice sturdy foundation for our fridge to sit on. Looks not so bad. This is where our fridge is gonna go. So in the future, we'll be able to open the cabinet door, open the fridge, and grab a nice cold beverage.
I hope that gives you guys some perspective on how small that space is.
Counter height is pretty much perfect. You're gonna be able to cut all them vegetables perfectly right up here once we get our butcher block. We're gonna have to put some sort of backsplash in here to make sure we don't make a mess. It's a pretty small kitchen. There's gonna be a cabinet here, so I'm gonna like literally have to wash dishes like down this step though, so you have enough room to work here. I'm gonna literally be here, because this is really the only place in the van I can actually stand up straight. Everywhere else in the van I have to hunch over a little bit. This is perfect. I can wash. We'll have to put like a table here. I can put all the dry dishes. Life's good. Light on and off when I actually have a battery hooked up, which I don't have right now. We spent the rest of the day post-lunch just making sure we had all of the wood cut for the lower cabinet in the kitchen. In order to make our lives easier, we decided not to assemble everything. We're gonna take it home and paint it. And we're gonna spare you the trouble of having to watch all of the painting, because has anybody ever searched the internet for a painting ASMR video before? Actually, what would a painting ASMR video look and sound like?
Let's find out.
Kirsten's gonna just pop open the lid with a screwdriver. We need to get access. So we're gonna stir the primer because we don't want sediment. Now our paint roller is full of paint. It's important to cover the board completely with primer, because if you do it properly, you'll only go! Welcome back to the Rich and Kirsten cabinet making channel, where we do not make long form ASMR content, but apparently we do woodworking tasks for weeks on end. And today we're gonna be working on part of the cabinets that is gonna be my domain. Because yesterday we pretty much got Kirsten's domain all figured out, so it's my time to shine. Although, interestingly enough, Kirsten actually designed my cabinet area, so she's gonna tell you all about that.
As with anything in a van build, this is highly customized to our needs, which means my brain hurts. This cabinet that we're building, it's going to house our sink and our toilet. Making those dimensions work isn't exactly the easiest because it's also going to hold all of our water. So we are not doing a fixed water tank like most people do, either under the belly of their vehicle or in their bench. We're gonna be using standard Reliance aquatainers. From a logistical standpoint, this makes the most sense for us, and we'll explain more about that when we set up our plumbing. But needless to say, the measurements really do matter, as my measurement sheet is flying away. Now it's in the water, no! It has taken us front and back to try and figure out how to do this. We started making cuts already, so why don't we show you what it looks like so far, and then when we assemble it, it hopefully all comes together.
Well, that's about as far as we can get today because we've run out of 1x3 lumber, so that means we gotta go back to Home Depot. But we did get some good news a couple days ago. After a couple days of nothing but cabinet making, today it's finally time to do some installation.
Installation?
Installation, like we're installing the cabinets.
Oh, in my brain I thought you were gonna say insulation.
We've already done insulation. That was like 2 months ago. The original plan for today was to install all of the cabinets that you've seen us make in this video, but the cabinet where the sink is going, we've just decided we want to do all of the work before we install it. So I'm just gonna leave that for today, and we're gonna install all of the lower cabinets in the kitchen.
One side of the kitchen.
One side of the kitchen. And we've had to make some important considerations. We have installed a light switch, which last video you saw us install something very similar. But yeah, this is gonna sit right beside our bed, so when we're lazy and laying in bed, we can turn on and off the lights. And eventually we're gonna cut a hole for a USB socket, but that hasn't come, so I don't wanna cut the hole because I don't wanna cut the wrong size hole. That would suck. Yeah, I was outgrowing the other one, wasn't I?
I don't think putting you in a cage is worth me losing my fridge.
I guess the tricky part will be getting this in the van and actually installed in the van now. Oh, segue. Oh, segue. Looks pretty decent, actually. What do you think?
I like it.
You know what I think?
What?
Let's make some adjustments, get this installed, and then we can give them a quick tour and show them what our kitchen's gonna look like.
Alright, so this is the first half of our kitchen. Where I'm sitting right now is where our sink is gonna sit, and you saw us building that cabinet, but we don't want to install it yet until we finish off dealing with this, just because it's going to begin to get in the way. It's pretty straightforward. We're going to have our fridge right in the middle here with 2 drawers above it. Then we're going to have a pull-out pantry here. In this one here is going to be all of our electrical, but we're going to address that in a week or two because we do need to get it set up in short order so that we can move on to some other projects. We are planning on still putting upper cabinets up top, but we don't have as much room to work with vertically as others because we have a medium-sized roof, which means that we've lost about 6 inches of height that those cabinets could be lifted up. But that's a task for another week.
We hope you enjoyed another episode of Rich and Kirsten Build a Van. We promise next week there will be no more ASMR. This week was a little bit of a short week for us. It was just nice to take a few days away from building the van. And next week we are going to be